Welcome everybody in the deep dive session of Vihangam Yoga. So far we covered several topics in so many weeks where we touched upon subject like what are the six eternal entities, how the soul falls from the zone of liberation to this mortal land by going through six different dehas, six different bodies. We also learned about tri-bondages, the bondage of Agyanta, the bondage of association with Prakriti, and the bondage of karma. We discussed karma in great details, different kinds of karma, the karma, vikarma, and akarma. We also understood the Sadguru entity in details, and those with the open mind could understand what the Sadguru entity is. It is a different entity than Soul and Almighty. We also understood Seva and what is the importance of Seva in spiritual enlightenment. We discussed in great length everything about the mind, what is the origin of mind, how does the mind start working with the soul, and how to set our consciousness free from the mind in the journey of meditation to go beyond what mind cannot experience. After all these discussions, we came to a point where it is a time to make a decision now, whether we want to really change our life and go on the path of the teachings of Vihangam Yoga, or we continue to stick to what we have been doing in our life. So to make that decisions, let us have a first-hand experience here that what a Vihangam yogi does in their daily life, is it suitable for your life or not? Are you a kind of person who are willing to have a life of a Vihangam yogi? So we are going to touch upon those daily duties of a disciple as a true Vihangam yogi. And we also will touch upon the 12 rules of Sant Samaj. The Vihangam Yoga Sant Samaj has 12 rules. And are we ready to accept those 12 rules? What does a regular practitioner of a Vihangam Yoga do on daily basis? A regular practitioner does daily prayers morning and evening. They practice daily meditation. They understand that the seva is everything in spirituality, and they always try to grab the opportunity of Nitya Seva and Nimittik Seva. They always look forward to attend regular satsang. Not only they participate, become the listeners in satsang, but they also help conduct the satsang. They contribute their seva in conducting satsang for others. A Vihangam Yoga devotee look forward to Sadguru Darshan as frequent as possible. So prayers, daily seva, sadhana and satsang, and Sadguru Darshan. These are just the high level points which a devotee of Vihangam Yoga tries to adhere to. So before I move on to the 12 rules of Sant Samaj, I'm going to just touch upon these regular practices to make it very clear what does each of these mean here. So daily prayers. Who can you pray on a daily basis? In Vihangam Yoga, it is made very clear that there is only one Almighty who is omnipresent, who is within the soul and who is within each tiny and big creation of this universe. It is only His consciousness which permeates through everything. So the daily prayer has to be offered to the Almighty. But the Almighty is in conscious form. Almighty is not visible to our eyes, is not visible to, not perceivable by our senses. So who is the Vyakta form of Almighty? Who is the physical form of Almighty? Sadguru is the Vyakta form of Almighty for a disciple. For a disciple, the Guru himself is to be taken, is to be considered as Almighty. Because unless Guru raises our consciousness and make us meet the Almighty himself, Guru would establish all the required qualities, including the quality of devotion, by the relationship of a Guru and Shishya. So when a Shishya considers his Guru as the Almighty and offer all prayers to the Guru on behalf of Almighty, the Guru is in front of you. It is Guru who is presenting the Almighty for a disciple. So if a disciple has to offer any prayer to the Almighty, a disciple will offer that prayer to the Guru, because the Guru is the representative of Almighty for a disciple. But one must not confuse that I am offering my prayer to a human being. No, we are offering prayer to Sadguru, who by his power, by his existence, is always in union with Almighty. So in true sense also, the Almighty energy is very active in Sadguru all the time. And that is why Sadguru is called Parabrahma Swarup. The Almighty does not embodies himself into any human being, but it is the Sadguru who embodies himself in a human being, and he also carries the almighty power within himself to represent Almighty. The Almighty will never form a body and appears in front of anybody, because Almighty is the Sakal Skambh. He is the base of everything, and there is no change in the Almighty ever. Almighty always exists the way He is all the time. There is never any change in Almighty in any yuga, in any circumstances. He is constantly there, permeated through everything in a conscious form, watching everybody, watching everybody's actions, karma all the time. So we offer daily prayers to the Sadguru, because Sadguru represent Almighty for us. But that prayer is only the means for us to develop the quality of devotion. Sadguru wants us to develop the quality of devotion, because only by that he could establish us in the devotion of Almighty. So he presents himself, and a devotee develops deep devotion for the Sadguru. When this devotion quality is established, Sadguru is able to take the devotees and unite with Almighty. And then the devotion is established with the Almighty, which is the goal of the human life, and which is also the goal of Sadguru. Sadguru is here to take all the disciples to the devotion of Almighty. So for sure, for us to develop a love and interest for devotion, we'll have to get into that practice on daily basis. If we don't feel interested in sitting in front of a guru and singing prayers, offering prayers, it means our nature is far, far away from one who is eligible for devotion of Almighty. If you don't feel for the prayer, that means there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be wiped out of, there's a lot of dirts which are still holding us back in this Maya, in the grip of ego, which is stopping us to even offer daily prayers, morning and evening. So a disciple has to work upon it. A disciple has to fight with the mind and convince the mind for the daily prayers. Only by you fighting and working upon something which is necessary, your mind will automatically start getting tuned to it. If you allow the freedom to the mind, then mind will always set itself away from the spiritual growth. So one must not surrender to the mind, but surrender to the Sadguru by offering daily prayers. Daily meditation. A Vihangam yogi makes a commitment that I will practice meditation twice daily minimum. You're free to practice meditation as many times as you want. More the better. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, in his journey of God realization, used to practice 24 hours. He used to practice continuously for days and weeks, and used to get, unconscious because of not getting water and food for days in a row. He was so much thirsty and hungry for the Almighty. So there is no limitations, but there is a minimum criteria that if you don't feel for meditation at least twice a day, at least morning and evening, which is possible, whatever is the nature of our daily job, service, and business. It is still very possible for everybody to find time for morning meditation and find time for evening meditation, provided one has developed the interest and love for it. If a devotee is not doing that, that means there's a lot to be done. That means our chitta, our mind, our inner organs are so much impure that we don't even feel for sitting in meditation twice daily. So these are the check marks for us. These are the checkpoints. Am I doing daily prayers? If not, that means my inner core is so much impure. Am I doing daily meditation twice daily? If not, that means I'm so much behind in the queue of devotees. Regular seva. You know, when you have a family, all the need of the family becomes your need, provided you consider integral part of it. There'll be a daily need and there'll be an occasional need. So contributing towards fulfilling the need of the family is your seva for the family. Similarly, if you have a natural love for the master, then what master has devised a mechanism about is he has laid down the network of seva. Why? So that you can exercise your devotion, your love by participating in those activities called seva karya. Now those who participate in those seva karya, they get an opportunity to reignite the sense of seva, the sense of love, the sense of devotion for the master. And those who steal their effort, their resources from contributing towards those seva karya, it simply means there is a lack of devotion, lack of love for the master. It is as good as if the family has a daily need and you become very careless about that. It simply means that we have no love for the family. So seva is a mechanism where we always keep our love for the master ignited. We don't let it go down. The day you are away from seva, your devotion, your love for the master will start subsiding down. And if you are in love with the master, if you are in love with the wisdom, then of course you would like to contribute towards sustaining this very system. For example, in this time of Corona, the ashram still has all the expenses. Ashram still has the Gaushala with 200 cows in each prime ashrams. Ashrams still has expenses which happens there for taking care of all the devotees, hundreds of devotees who are living in the ashram. Ashram still has expenses in feeding all the poor nearby, where the ashram goes and the ashram people go and distribute the food, the milk, the cloth to the poor in the neighborhood of the ashram. But if a guru has to ask for the seva, that means the sevak, the disciple. I mean, it is a matter of great concern for the disciple that will guru need to ask for it, or a disciple should himself or herself feel for it and go forward and contribute towards it. If a disciple is not doing that, that means he is not a disciple. He is still not a disciple. So there is a regular seva. Seva is performed by 4 different means, which are called nitya seva. And then there are occasional seva, which are called naimittik seva, which are performed by disciple on need basis. But a true disciple are those who commit for nitya seva for the whole life, not for 1 month or 2 days or 3 days, for the whole life. One wants to live in seva for the whole life because one understands that the true happiness, the satisfaction of life is in seva only. And then a disciple involves himself or herself into regular satsang all the time, because it is only through satsang that the mind is purified. It is through the wisdom that is received through satsang that our intellect is awakened, and we come to a point where we are able to understand what is right, what is wrong, what is my duty of life, what is not. It is through satsang that our ill virtues are suppressed down and good virtues are awakened. It is through satsang that we break the thread of bhoga and attach ourselves with the practice of yoga. It is satsang that enlightens us, encourages us to go for the spiritual progress. The moment you discontinue joining satsang, the Maya will attack from all directions and will just eat you. You will again get lost into the flow of Maya in no time. And so satsang is amrit for the soul, because it saves you from dying again in the Maya. We are almost dead in Maya. We lose ourselves. We become enslaved of the mind and Maya if we are not in touch with satsang. So satsang is amrit. It gives us life. It gives us the happiness. It gives us the peace. So a regular practitioner makes sure that I am not away from satsang any moment. And whenever you get a chance, we always look forward to get darshan of Sadguru. Why? Because that is the craving which is required for a devotee to attain success in spiritual journey. If we do not have the craving to meet the Almighty, then what is the use of spiritual journey? If we don't have that craving, if the foundation itself is not there, then the spiritual journey is not going to get anything to you. So one must always crave for meeting Sadguru, because Sadguru is representing God, representing Almighty to you. If we cannot meet the Almighty, at least meet Sadguru, because Sadguru is the embodiment right now, representing Almighty to you. And a devotee knows that there is a difference between meeting a saint and meeting Sadguru, because Sadguru has control over your chitta. Sadguru can change your sanskara with his, just with his drishti, just with his touch. He can change your sanskara. Just with Sadguru darshan, when the Sadguru energy flows, it cleanses the chitta of the disciple who comes for darshan. Sadguru is a different entity. We had a whole chapter, we discussed about what Sadguru is. Sadguru is a different entity. So getting frequent darshan of Sadguru is the regular practice of a disciple. Whenever we will go to India, we must look forward to get darshan of Sadguru. Whenever Sadguru Dev is in America, we must all strive and do our best. Even though we have to put lot of expenses in buying flight ticket to reach to the place where Sadguru Dev is. Imagine what is the use of your money if you cannot meet Sadguru. Because in the entire life, you never know how many times you'll get opportunity to get darshan of Sadguru. The last Sadguru Dev came in America was in 2014. It's already been 6 years. Sadguru Dev has to travel every nook and corner of the globe. So of course, it is very difficult to get his presence in America all the time. So when he comes here, we have to put all the money to get his darshan. Or when we go to India, we have to do all the effort and make sure we get darshan of Sadguru. It's very rare. Sadguru milna kathina hai. Bhagyavan nar paye. Only the fortunate beings are those who get to meet Sadguru. Because Sadguru is not in the human form all the time. It is of our great fortune that Sadguru is present in the human form. And we can go and get darshan of Sadguru. Sadguru has appeared in the human form after 600 years. Imagine all those births where the human being were deprived of the Sadguru. We are very fortunate being that we are born in the time when Sadguru Dev will be here in 3 more generations. The Sadguru energy is going to stay in the human form for 6 generations. This is the 3rd generation of Sadguru. And after 3 more generations, Sadguru energy will be pulled back and there'll be only the conscious form of Sadguru, not the physical form of Sadguru anymore. So you have only 3 more births to ensure that make use of this opportunity and make the spiritual progress to the Almighty while Sadguru is present in the human form. Because once the human form is gone, then it takes a great deal of devotion and practice to please Sadguru. That Sadguru will come for you in the human form the way he came for Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. When Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj was in search of the Brahma Vidya, he had to put toilsome effort to really get the Sadguru. Then Sadguru appeared in front of him after finding his true seeking, the in-depth urge for meeting the Almighty. It is only then the eternal Sadguru appeared in front of him in the human form and blessed him with Brahma Vidya. But we are fortunate that Sadgurudev is here with a pledge that I'll stay as long as my pledge is not over. It is such a great mercy. So we have to make the maximum use of this opportunity and get the darshan of Sadguru as many times as possible. So before we dive into 12 rules of Sant Samaj, I request all of you to please open up if you have any questions, any doubt. There must not be place for any doubt in Vihangam Yoga. If you are in Sanshay, if you are in doubt, that must be clarified with open heart. Don't feel shy asking any doubt that you have.
Vijay, Narayan.
Yeah. Yes, Narayan.
So we understand we have to pray Sadgurudev and we have to do the daily things. Are we saying that we are not supposed to do any other prayers other than Sadguru? Is that the message that I'm hearing?
I'm talking about a true seeker of the Almighty who have understood what is what. Okay. So in Vihangam Yoga practice, once you understand that I don't need to water the flowers and the leaves separately, but I can only water the root, and that itself will be enough to get the water reach to the flowers and the leaves. Then of course you would like to do that, right? You would not like to continue watering all different branches of the tree, but only the root. So what is the root? The root is Almighty. The Almighty, Ekodeva. And what are the other deities? All other deities are the flowers and the leaves and the branches. And who is the embodiment of Almighty? It is the Sadguru. So the choice is ours. You want to offer your prayer to the Almighty. And of course, you will do that. That is the goal of Sadguru. Sadguru wants us to reach to the Almighty and establish us in the devotion of Almighty. But the means is through the devotion quality that He wants us to have when we involve ourselves into the daily prayers. So, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti is certainly a great quality to reach to. What would be the reason that when an all-potent entity is in front of you, and when all the deities and everybody is pleased when you devote to the all-potent Almighty, what would stop you to devote yourself completely to the Almighty then? I'll tell you the real incidents. You must have heard about Ram Krishna. Vivekananda was his disciple, right? So Ram Krishna was a great devotee of Kali Mata. And Kali Mata was so pleased with Ram Krishna that she used to appear and used to feed Ramakrishna. And she said that you have pleased me so much that I have to come to you. You have realized me, but what you have not realized is you yourself. You still do not know who you are. So now the time has come that you go to the shelter of Sadguru. And Ma Kali gave him the address of Sadguru Totapuri. So Sadguru Totapuri then enlightened him with the Brahmavidya technique. And then he became Paramhans, Ramakrishna Paramhans. In Swarved it is said that there are different ways of offering devotion, but without offering devotion to Sadguru, the Chetan devotion is not unfolded. And unless the Chetan devotion is hidden from the devotees, how to offer devotion to the Almighty directly is unknown. The devotion to Almighty is unfolded only when the devotion to Sadguru is established. Because through Sadguru only, your devotion is transformed into the devotion of Almighty. So it's a science, it's a process, it's a mechanism which a practitioner understands when one reaches to the 5th stage of Vihangam Yoga practice, where it is through the devotion of Sadguru that you will be able to travel high at the door of Prakash Dwar. It's called Paramatma, it's called Ekadash Dwar, the 11th door in the process of meditation, where your consciousness will need to be further refined to the level where the Almighty will be visible. So for that refinement to happen, what you need is the complete faith and devotion to the Sadguru first. Only when you devote yourself to Sadguru, then your consciousness it starts going through that refinement with the Sadguru energy. And then it converts into something called Nirati, to enter into the zone of Almighty. So without having your complete faith and devotion to Sadguru, that transformation is not going to happen. So whether you establish your Ananya Bhakti to Sadguru now or later, the choice is ours. But we are neither going to disappoint any deities by devoting yourself to the Almighty, nor you are going to lose anything if you truly devote yourself to the Almighty. Because whatever is the reason for our devotion in any other form, everything is covered under the devotion of the Almighty Himself. So the choice is ours. The choice is ours. There is absolutely no problem in continuing the way we are. But then there'll be a point where you will yourself understand that I'm doing redundant job. If I'm already offering devotion to Almighty, I mean, it's not even a matter of redundant job. Rather, it's a change of your heart. Automatically things will change. Automatically, you'll not realize when you establish yourself in the complete devotion, where now you don't have to divide your devotion into multiple form. You don't need to. If we have that dichotomy, if you have that feeling that okay, first this, then this is only because we have not reached to that level. The day we reach to that level of devotion, automatically everything else, all the differences will vanish, and you will find all devotion in just devoting to the physical embodiment of Almighty. That's it.
Hi, there's one question we also have. So when we're talking about Vyakta Sadguru, that Sadguru is in Vyakta form, so that's why we need to pray him. Can we say that when Lord Krishna was here on the mortal land, then at that time it was the time when he was in the Vyakta form, but now he is in Avyakta form. Is that what you mean?
Yes, we can understand like that. There are several Shakti, the powers who descend down for raising our devotion level. And think like this, that if, let's say, Almighty came in one form at one point of time, there was a reason why a Shakti will come down in one form, because our Indriyas are not capable to reach to the Almighty. So only for us to establish a relationship with the Almighty, a representative will come down in one form. But if that form itself is no more there, and if there is some other form who is available right now, then it is up to us to now understand that if the Almighty is present in front of us, should we continue in the imagination of what would be the previous form of Almighty, or should we just grab the opportunity of offering our devotion in the present form? So there's no disregard to anybody if we offer our devotion to the present form, because whichever is the present form, that is the present opportunity for us to connect to the Almighty. The only fundamental flaw is in people's understanding, that people think that God is many. That is the problem. That is the fundamental flaw. People read this mantra that Eko Devah Sarvabhuteshu Gudha, Sarvavyapi Sarvabhutantaratma. But in their mind, they're still in the imagination. They think that there's this God, that God, this God. If the Almighty is just one, why there is so much of confusion? Almighty is truly just one. So why even people have to divide their devotion into multiple forms if Almighty is just one? Now, if the Almighty is in a form where He's walking, talking to you, that is even better. There is no need of any imagination. So the choice is ours. The sooner we establish our devotion to the Sadguru, better we are for the spiritual progress. This takes little time for people to change into that mode, but even during offering their so-called devotion, the same mantra is being chanted, but it is so difficult to implement in their life. They chant this mantra that Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Par Brahma, Guru Sakshat Par Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurue Namah. The Guru himself represents the Almighty. We chant this mantra. But is it sung for any Guru? Of course not. The Guru, the Sadguru, who is truly holding the Almighty's power within his soul, holds that position of Sadguru. And so for that Sadguru, this mantra is chanted. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Par Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurue Namah. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam, Tad Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurue Namah. We chant this mantra, but what is the problem in implementing it in the life? So we have to just break free from this very hesitation if we are a true seeker of spirituality. The reason I'm openly speaking all these in this session is because I consider this session for those who are truly aspiring to attain the realization of devotion and the bliss of Almighty. Because this is the path in which talk is only after the experience. The theory is only after the experience. The Guru has experienced everything and then he has given the theory. It is not spoken here based on the references that this Grantha said this Grantha said this. No. It is the direct experience of the pioneer of Vihangam Yoga, Sadguru Dakal Devji Maharaj, who himself realized what the Sadguru is. And when Sadguru adopted him and gave all the Sadguru energy and power to him, it is then he became the physical form of Sadguru. Aj Guru ki chhaya pade Sadguru pad adhikar, Vidya padh Guru nahi bane maha kathin vyavahar. The physical form of Sadguru is not one who is very scholar of Vedas and Upanishads. No. Physical form of Sadguru is one who receives the Brahma energy within themselves. So we are talking about the Sadguru who is truly reflecting the Almighty's power from his core. So daily prayers, daily meditation, regular seva. Right now, in the COVID-19, we all have duty. If we are truly desiring to progress in the spiritual journey, then this is the testing time for us. Are we really a believer of the present master? If so, then we must all contribute on a monthly basis towards the daily need of the ashram. We all must give seva. And there's a beautiful thing. You know, in Arsh Granth, it is said that If you really want to attain the union with Almighty, you want to experience Almighty, then you need to practice meditation under the shelter of Sadguru for time immemorial. For several years of tapa needs to be done under the shelter of Sadguru to unfold the mystery of Almighty. But what are we doing? We are spending all our hours in, of course, our daily duties, going to office, earning money. But there is still a way where all your effort can translate into the service of Sadguru, association with Sadguru. If we go to office for getting our monthly income, our salary, whatever effort we are putting over there, if you want to translate your effort in the business, in your service, as the service of Sadguru, then a portion of your earning should be contributed to Sadguru Seva, to the Seva of the worldly activities that Sadguru is doing. If a portion of your effort goes there, that means whatever time you consumed in your business, in your service, in earning that much of money, you are basically translating that effort to the service of the mankind, to the service of Sadguru's mission. If you physically cannot be there, if you cannot do that, if you are physically bound to be with your service, with your job, the only way you can still attain the same level of purity and blessings from Sadguru is by translating your effort of office, your business, to the service by contributing a portion of your salary on a regular basis. That is what is called Nitya Seva, Nitya Artha Seva. There is a Arth Seva, there is a body Seva, with your body, you can put your effort towards any activity. Dhan, Kaya, Man, Vachana Se, Santa Param Guru Se. You can serve by Artha, you can serve by your body, you can serve by your mind, you can serve by your speech. Regular Seva. Who involves in regular Seva? Who is not caught up in Maya so much? Everything is given by the Almighty Himself. And if a messenger of Almighty is here and doing some activity, and we are hoarding all these earnings for our generations to come, when the Almighty representative, the messenger, is here for doing some seva to the mankind, we just think ourselves, are we doing our duty or not? It is only our greed, our emotions, our attachments, which prohibits in offering our service, which we are capable of. And only because of this greed and the attachment, we will remain caught in the cycle of life and death. So we have to grow above these. And the only way of growing above the Maya and the greed and the attachment is by becoming selfless. There is absolutely no other way. Only when we become selfless. And the way to inculcate selflessness within ourselves is by contributing our hard-earned money. I will say, because that is the real test. We can contribute our time. It is easy to do. We can contribute with our effort, physical effort, easy to do. The real test is, are we ready to contribute by our earth? Because that is where the real greed lies. And that is the whole reason why we'll remain caught in the cycle of life and death. Because the real greed we are not ready to leave. That is the problem. Whatever is easy to leave, we are leaving behind. But the greed which we are caught into, it's difficult to get rid of that. It requires only bhav. For example, our Guru says that 1%, 2% of your income should be contributed in the human service. Think about it, peanuts, 2%. 2% of our income should be contributed in the human service. And people still hesitate in doing that. A Vihangam Yoga. I'm going to now go through those 12 rules. In the 12 rules itself, it says that the happiness and the prosperity of the world should be considered as the happiness and prosperity of the self. We'll come to that. The 12 rules of Sant Samaj. The very first rule makes it very clear that the prime goal of human life is to attain union with Almighty. Everything rest is secondary to it. One must not compromise on the path of spirituality. You must do everything else without having any compromise on the path of spirituality, because our prime goal is to become eligible for union with Almighty. The second rule says that one must offer 100% devotion to the Almighty, no one else. Because only when we are really hungry for Almighty, it is only then you will meet Almighty, because that is the goal of this Sant Samaj. So we must offer our 100% devotion to the Almighty, no one else. Third rule is, through Brahma Vidya, Yoga Samadhi only, Almighty is attained, not by any materialistic means or indriyas. So the third rule makes it very clear that if we remain confined in the andrik bhakti, because in order to offer devotion to any other form, you will have to remain constrained within the devotion based on indriyas. And that is not going to translate into any conscious devotion. But the devotion offered to the Almighty or to the physical representative of Almighty, your devotion is being translated slowly in the process by the Sadguru, where from indriyas you'll raise to the level of soul, and your devotion will take the shape of the conscious devotion, not the Jad Bhakti, not the Andrik Bhakti. It will begin with the Andrik Bhakti, but only with 100% devotion to the Almighty. By the grace of Sadguru, the Andrik Bhakti translates into the Chetan Bhakti. So we need to be 100% there for that translation to happen. And that's why it is said, it is made very clear that if you are truly desiring the union with Almighty, then we have to devote 100% to the Almighty. So through Brahma Vidya, Yoga Samadhi only, Almighty is attained, not by any materialistic means or indriyas. The true devotee of Lord, the humble servant of Sadgurudev, believer of God, and all virtuous, means full of all qualities, are eligible for Vihangam Yoga. Meaning, if you really want to progress in the path of Vihangam Yoga, then we must look upon the kind of qualities that we have in our character. We must have the mercy, the forgiveness, the control on our indriyas, intellect, vairagya. These sadgunas should be part of our character. And we must put an effort to raise these qualities within us, because only then we remain eligible for the higher stages of Vihangam Yoga. Otherwise, we'll remain confined within the lower There are 5 stages of Vihangam Yoga journey. We will remain, limited to only the lower part of this journey. So we must evolve to become a virtuous human being. More pure we are, more we become eligible for the higher stages of Vihangam Yoga journey. Then the next one is the prime motive of Sant Samaj is to spread Brahma Vidya, not any other sect or belief in the entire world. So this Sant Samaj is dedicated to spread the wisdom of God realization to the entire world, not any other belief system or any other human theories. Brahma Vidya is not any personal theory, but Brahma Vidya is an eternal knowledge. It is something which directly flows from the Almighty. And it is this wisdom that is being spread by Vihangam Yoga Sant Samaj. So the prime motive of Sant Samaj is to spread Brahma Vidya, meaning the knowledge and the technique of self-realization and God realization, not any other sect or belief in the entire. Bijak Bhashya, Chaturvediya, Brahma Vidya Bhashya, Swarved are the 3 prime scriptures in Sant Samaj. It is the duty of all disciples to spread the awareness of these 3 scriptures. Through Sadguru, through SAMs or other ashram colleagues, and by Seva Satsang, one must be very clear about what is Shar, what is Akshar, and what is Ni-Akshar, and practice meditation regularly. Here Shar means all the creation of this universe. Akshar means the vibrational force who is causing the creation to happen. And Ni-Akshar means the Almighty, who is vibration free, who is base of everything. So one must be very clear about these entities in Vihangam Yoga and practice meditation regularly. This Sant Samaj, which avails the bhakti and mukti, the technique of devotion and liberation, is open for all faith, all sects, all disciplines of life, all caste and people of all countries. This is for entire human being. The next one says, may we be inspired to establish world peace and happiness by having all our conduct in love. May we all be filled with love in everything that we do, and make sure that we have the spiritual progress day by day. Only by the individual progress we will contribute towards the world peace and happiness. So we have to play a responsible role in making sure that I be the reason for the world peace and happiness. For that, I have to be at peace and happiness first. So we have to do all our best effort to ensure that we are progressing in the spiritual progress. And then just next to that rule, then Sadhgurudev says that though you are making attention to yourself in your progress, but one should not be satisfied with it. One should not be satisfied only with own happiness and progress, but should feel happy and prosperous in the happiness and the prosperity of the entire world. So a Vihangam yogi does not live only for the self, but your entire life is dedicated to the service of the entire world. Only when you lead your life with that higher vision, not that narrow-sighted, but wide open. The life is for the service of the human mankind, for everybody. It is only then you are obeying the rules of Sant Samaj. So all true disciples of Vihangam Yoga are bound to these rules. Sadhguru says that if you're truly desiring to make a spiritual upliftment, then you are bound to these rules. And then the final one is the welfare of the soul is in surrendering to the Master with faith and conducting seva, sumiran and bhajan with complete belief in the existence of Lord. Only those with astikya bhav, those who believe in the existence of Almighty, would be able to even surrender to the Master. Because only when you have belief that the God exists, only then you would like to surrender to the Master to attain the Almighty. And only those who really get into this are ensuring the welfare of their inner core. The Atma Kalyan, the welfare of the soul, is truly in the path of surrendering to the Sadguru and devoting time in seva and in meditation journey, in satsang, in remembering God. Those who are away from these practices, no matter how hard they try to bring happiness in their life, it is not going to happen without truly molding their life into the service of the mankind, without molding their life according to the rules and discipline of Sadguru. It is not going to happen. The welfare of the soul is only in surrendering to the Master with faith and conducting seva, sumiran and bhajan with complete belief in the existence of Almighty. So these are the 12 rules of Sant Samaj. I hope the point is very clear that the path of Vihangam Yoga is for serious spiritual seekers. It is not something where you just talk and entertain your mind and de-stress your mind by listening to things. Vihangam Yoga is a way of life. Vihangam Yoga is something which you imbibe in your life. You transform your life by getting into these practices. And what is harm if it truly changes you? If you really sincerely devote yourself into these practices, it is guaranteed that you'll feel a great deal of change in your experience. Imagine you're working upon raising all the good virtues in you. You're truly sincere in releasing, getting rid of all the bad virtues from you. Of course, there'll be a transformative experience in your life. You will feel one day that I have become a different person. Sadguru is all equipped and Sadguru is all potent to bring that change in us. Are we ready? That is the question. Okay. I'm sure that this session was very heavy today, but why to even lose time? Time is running so fast. Every passing moment is not going to return back. We are so very fortunate that we are in the time when Sadgurudev is present here. The choice is ours, how sincere we are, how awakened we are. Please feel free to pass on your comment, your views, your questions. Open your heart, please.
Good evening, this is Praveen.
Yes, Prince.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था, जो हम संत समाज बोल रहे हैं, is it only limited to Vihangam yoga, or it is kind of like it consists of other people as well, or like maybe other philosophies? Because
Sure, yeah.
before I joined Vihangam yoga, right, so I used to explore a lot. I did not follow any
Right.
sadguru, but I used to explore on YouTube and all, and I found like couple of people, like there is somebody, one is professor like Dr. Naresh someone, and someone like some Rampal or somebody else. So they also had like similar kind of philosophies based on Sant Kabir Sahab. So, and they also like they said like they have their sadgurus and I think similar things. So I used to get confused, like okay, then like which one is real sadguru? So do those people also come under the same Sant Samaj umbrella, or it is something like
I think there were noise also in the background, but I think I still could get you a little bit. So just to make it clear, what is Sant Samaj? So Sant Samaj is the system which follows the principle of Sadguru. Which Sadguru? Who is called Sant in Atharveda. Anti santam na jahati, anti santam na pashyati, devas pashya kavyam na mamara na jiryati. So the Sant word has been first coined by the rishis for who? For the eternal Sadguru, for the Nityanadi Sadguru. So all those systems which is based upon the principle of Nityanadi Sadguru is called Sant Samaj. So those who adhere to the principle of Sadguru Dev is the member of Sant Samaj. And those who really want to progress in the discipline of Sadguru, then these are the 12 rules of Sant Samaj, which was formalized in Vihangam Yoga. So this rules, the 12 rules, was made by the Sadguru, the present. So basically, the Sadguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj, when he received the Sadguru's power and instructions from eternal Sadguru, he formalized these things and wrote it in the book and called it Sant Samaj ke 12 Niyam. So Sant Samaj is truly, so basically, you know, when let's say Vihangam Yoga will not be there, Sadguru will not be there, the 12 rules of Sant Samaj, which is written right now, is in the context of present time when the Sadguru is present here in the flow of Vihangam Yoga energy. And accordingly, there are scriptures like Svarved, Bijak Bhashya, Chaturvediya Brahmvidya Bhashya. So these books are the book of Vihangam Yoga. So those who really want to flow with the Sadguru energy, then these 12 rules are what help them, you know, progress spiritually in the path of Vihangam Yoga. So in a way, you can say that these Sant Samaj 12 rules are the rules of Vihangam Yoga. You can say that as well.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so Venkatji asked, what is Sumiran? So Sumiran literally means the remembrance, the Smaran. That is the literal meaning of Sumiran. And that is why Sumiran happens at different levels. When you do not, let's say I ask you to do the Sumiran of your birthplace. You can certainly do the Sumiran of your birthplace very easily because you have seen your birthplace. So when you have seen something, you can perform the Sumiran of that entity. But if you have not seen the entity, but you, or rather you had seen it before, but you have forgotten about it, then you'll have just, and now you're kind of recalling it. You're recalling. When you're recalling that there was something, so this process of recalling is nothing but a Sumiran only. You're kind of remembering thing. You're kind of remembering thing that you had lost. But the difference between Sumiran and the Dhyan and the Samadhi is that in Sumiran, your consciousness is still detached from the entity. But in Dhyan, your consciousness gets attached to the entity. And in Samadhi, you are fully engrossed into the entity, meaning your own existence is not within your experience because you're fully engrossed into the entity. So Sumiran is the pre-stage, then comes the Dhyan, and then comes the Samadhi. So right now, we can do the Sumiran of Almighty because in theory, we at least know that the God exists. So in whatever form you can remember God, your all process of remembering God is a form of Sumiran. But the real Sumiran, the complete Sumiran happens at the abode where you can do the Chetan Sumiran, meaning your conscious experience of Almighty will be remembered by your soul. When the conscious experience of Almighty is remembered by the soul, at that point, all your wishes are fulfilled just by that Sumiran. Just by conscious remembrance of Almighty, all our wishes are fulfilled. Sumiran is that powerful. So when a yogi who is established in union with Almighty, through the power of Sumiran, they fulfill all physical wishes. The Sumiran is that powerful. All the sorrow of life is also, taken care of by the Sumiran. But which Sumiran? The conscious Sumiran. So we need to work upon the meditation process to reach to that stage where our physical Sumiran will translate into conscious Sumiran. So conscious Sumiran is the complete form of Sumiran, which is the pre-stage of Dhyan. When I say Dhyan, meaning the Ishwar Dhyan. Dhyan is again at different levels. As we understand in Vihangam Yoga, we have 5 stages of meditation. But the 5th stage of meditation is the real Ishwar Dhyan, meaning your focal point is now the Ishwar himself. Right now in stage 1, our focal point is the part of our body. And slowly our Dhyan is going to translate into the Chetan Dhyan, which is the complete form of Dhyan, where the focal point itself becomes the Almighty himself. So you will experience Almighty, you will experience yourself, and you will experience that you're putting your concentration on the Almighty. This is what is the ultimate stage of Dhyan. And then this Dhyan will translate into Samadhi, where you will even lose your own impression. What remains is just the impression of Almighty. That is what is samadhi. So sumiran is the remembrance of Almighty, and dhyan is the sakshatkar of Almighty, and samadhi is to engross yourself into Almighty. So I hope that clarifies, Venkatji.
Yes, Vijayji, thank you.
Okay. I think I'll like to revise the Sadguru entity in the next session. But yes, anybody has any other question?
Vijay, this is Dipti. I have one question, but the question is not related to the current, like today's session. Can I ask?
Sure, yeah, please.
Yeah, Vijay, yeah. So, Vijay, I think I believe you have already discussed about Chitta. So, I just want to know what is Chitta, because in my understanding, what I know, our mental segment has like 4 main divisions. One is Buddhi, second is Manas, third is like your Ahankara, and fourth is Chitta. So, what is Chitta? Though I understand all those 3, like I have the fair understanding, but I don't understand really Chitta. So, what is Chitta exactly?
Yeah, very nice. Right. So in our earlier sessions, yeah, we did cover these 4 inner organs, and yeah, just to clarify, Diptiji, that these 4 inner organs, the Man, Buddhi, Chit, and Ahankar, are 4 distinct elements. Unlike you said that these are the 4 different faces of the mind, maybe the same mind having 4 different characteristics, something like that understanding people have. But when you go into meditation, when you experience these 4 inner organs, then you understand that these 4 inner organs are 4 distinct elements. For example, buddhi is located in your head, below your 10th door. It's called the murdha. There's a murdha sthan, there's a murdha place in the body, in the head, which is the place for your buddhi. And what is the place of your chitta? Chitta is located in the region of your heart. So heart is below, the buddhi is above. Where is ahankara? Ahankara is another inner organ. It is not only emotion. What ahankar people understand is the emotion part of it, but ahankar is an inner organ also, which is a different thing. An inner organ which is composed of 5 basic elements. The way your gross body is made of 5 gross elements, the Akash, Agni, Vayu, Jal, Prithvi, so these 5 basic elements, Chiti, Jal, Pavak, Gagan, Samir, are the fundamental blocks of your physical body. Similarly, in the subtle body also, there are 4 inner organs, out of which the 3 inner organs, the chitta, the ahankara, the buddhi, they are composed of, again, those panch mahabhut only, those panch tattva only, but they are in the subtle form. But man is not made of those panchbhuta. Man is agantuk chetan tattva. It is a different entity. So it is definitely something different from the intellect, different from the chitta, different from the ahankara. So these are 4 different elements. All 4 elements have their own work. What is the work of chitta? The chitta is like a live camera, which is capturing every moment of our life. When we move from one body to another body, it is our subtle body which goes along, and so it carries the 4 inner organs as well. And that's why all our current doing, all our deeds of this present life will carry forward into the next life by the means of chitta, because chitta will preserve all our actions, all our moments of this life. There was a devotee of Vihangam Yoga. Her name is Shali Kajaria ji. She spoke to this forum in North America, our weekly satsang. She is one of several devotees in Vihangam Yoga who have already recalled their previous birth. She already knows what she was in her previous birth, and see the glory of Sadguru. That when she goes for the darshan of Sadguru, Sadguru tells her the same detail that she had herself experienced in meditation about her previous life. Now that says the glory of not only the Shishya, but glory of Sadguru. That our Sadguru is all capable to see the Chitta and know everything about your previous life, who you are. Sadguru is all capable to look at the soul. And it is the soul that he accepts as his disciple, not your body, not your life. And that is why the relationship of soul with Sadguru is not of one life, but Mukti Tak Sambandh Gurudeva. Sadguru will not leave you unless he takes you to the liberation. That is the glory of Sadguru. Chitta is what preserves all your life moments. The job of Chitta is to keep capturing every moment, every actions, every cravings that we have in our life.
But can we exercise Chitta, like suppose like buddhi, we can feel our what is our buddhi, right? But
Right.
for Chitta, can we like feel that this is my Chitta, and can we exercise that, or this is only the inbuilt platform, and this is
So you certainly exercise Chitta. That is what is called Chintan.
Okay.
The man does the manan, buddhi does the vivechan, and chit does the chintan. So what is chintan? Chintan is about recalling everything that happened. You start going through it and start then applying your buddhi in it. Why did I do that way? Why did I? So chintan is about introspecting everything that you did, right? That is what is called chintan.
Okay.
And analyzing along with the introspection is what is called the vivechan. That whatever happened, the way it happened, you are replaying that. That is what is called chintan. So you are exercising your chitta by replaying what happened. And then analyzing every event that happened is what is called vivechan. And what is manan? Manan is to allow your mind to roam through different subjects. That is what is. So basically, it's like the imagination is also a part of manan, where you're allowing your mind to connect to various subjects, either coming from outside or inside. It is just roaming around things, or maybe connecting different things together. Something that you've just heard, and then connecting it with something that you had already heard. So that is what is called manan, where your mind is playing a role. Not your chitta, not your buddhi.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you so much.
Okay. I think time is up. Thank you so much for being part of this. We will continue learning more, and I'm going to revise Sadguru entity because it is very important to understand Sadguru thoroughly. What is Sadguru? And we'll also take open question on those sessions, for whatever we have covered so far. But we'll revise Sadguru where we all can participate. We can share our understanding about Sadguru in the next session. Thank you all. We'll conclude with Shanti Path. I request Isha ji to conclude.
Thank you, Vijay ji. Shanti Path. हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांति में शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांतिमय शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व शांति। देव सदा फल शांतिमय, शांति शांति सुख शांति। बोले सद्गुरुदेव की जय। बैक टू विजय जी।
With this we conclude. Thank you all. Jai Gurudev.
Vijay ji, Jai Sadhguru.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Vijay ji.
Thank you.